They should put in about all applications though and go through.
Yeah, I'll forward you her.
Okay, you got the contact info.
Actually, I think I've got.
Because I probably got it. I mean, I'll write down there.
Okay.
Call this Caddo Parish, November the 14th, 3:30 meeting to order. Roll call, please, Mr. Hopkins.
Dominic, Johnson, Jackson, Lynn, Bowman, Cawthorn, Gage Watts,
Here.
Middleton, Atkins, Chavez, Smith, Epperson. We have a quorum, sir.
Thank you, sir. We will have the invocation by Commissioner Gerald Bowman and the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Lyndon Johnson. Everyone please stand.
Everyone, please bow your heads. Lord, we just thank you once again for another day, another opportunity just to say thank you. Thank you for allowing us to be here. Ask for forgiveness of sins. Ask that you just continue to guide each and one of us, Lord, and help us to remember our purpose and to be purposeful and be productive and progressive. And remember that we're here for the citizens. Lord, bless our armed servicemen and women and continue to let there be peace not only here in America and this state, but across the world. These are the blessings we ask in your Son, in Jesus' name. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
The face of flag, military active for veteran, and the brow salute, all civilians, and on your heart. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any agenda additions? What's your boy doing? Do not see any agenda additions. Commissioner Epperson, did you have any agenda additions?
No, sir. Thank you.
We'll move on to citizens' comments. Each citizen has 3 minutes to comment. I have one card, Mr. John Settle. Please state your name and address, sir.
My name is John Settle. My home address is 33 Tealwood, Shreveport. I wanted to address a couple of things, and it's funny how life changes on you. Friday, I heard that y'all were going to review the UDC, and so I wanted to come and comment about that. And Sunday, I saw some good news in the paper, and I hope most of you saw this big ad where Libby Glass is advertising for machinists, industrial mechanics, electricians, and instrumental technicians. And I thought, that's some real good news. I don't know whose district this is in, but a company that I thought at one time was talking about leaving Shreveport is now advertising for jobs. And these are not the type jobs we may have at venue or other things, but these are type jobs a lot of our citizens need. And whoever has that in their district, I hope they'll speak to management. I thought that was a real positive note. So I was going to talk about that. And then this morning, I got a call at 7 that a real good friend of mine, Dr. Cash, died last night. And I communicated with Dr. Cash for, gosh, I don't know, the last 10 years regularly, 2 or 3 times a week. He's in my office Thursday. Saturday when I got off my bike ride, I called him and we talked. And I think that all just reminds me how short life can be. So that kind of changed what I wanted to address. But I know that y'all are going to be reviewing the UDC. Pretty simple document. Even the matrix that tries to tell you how easy it is to find what use you can be is 3 pages. There's been a lot of discussion about it. Some people say it's going to cure cancer and everything else is wrong in Caddo Parish. But I think there's several issues I hope that you'll address. One that concerns me is that the rights of citizens to appeal an adverse decision by the Zoning Board of Appeals has been taken away to the respective body. Now, if someone goes to ZBA and doesn't get the result they want, either the city or the parish or that person, they can appeal to the city council or to you. The draft says that they have to go to the court system. And that's a real ineffective remedy. We all know that. You got somebody trying to open a business to get a variance, and you're saying go spend X amount of dollars and a year in the court system to repeal this. And I know that part of the UDC's purpose is to take away from these tough political issues y'all must address. But I really think you're doing a great disservice to local businesses who want to have an exception and then you say, go spend big bucks with an attorney and spend a year in the court system to get a relief. Well, if you're in the business world, that just squashes it right there. So I hope that's something that y'all will really look at closely. And another one, and I'll speak quickly, another requirement is that new site plans that are introduced have to be approved by a landscape architect, drawn by a landscape architect. And when I was before the city council, Ricky Hall and several other builders, remodelers, small, independent people came up and said, you know, that's too expensive to put on our people. So I hope that y'all will look at it. This is a good purpose for this document, but I think there's a lot of requirements that really need to be looked close at and what the impact is on John Q. Public, the guy or person, woman or man, trying to get a variance for his business or a small plat to add on to his house or whatever, and it's got to have a landscape. There's a lot of those kind of things that I think need reviewed. And I've worked on this with the council, and I'll be happy to address any letters with suggestions and identify the code set, the provisions that I think bear scrutiny.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Settle. I have no further visitors unless I see Dixie Robertson, unless you wanted to say something. If you could hand Mr. Hopkins a card, and then you can approach the mic and state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Dixie Robertson. I'm the Executive Officer for the Home Builders Association of Northwest Louisiana. Those of you that know me know that 3 minutes is going to be a challenge, but I'll do my best. Basically, following up on the tail end of the comments before me, the Home Builders Association has worked in conjunction with the MPC throughout the process of approving the UDC. And we have one portion of the final draft that we are concerned with, and that's Section 10.6, the tree preservation guidelines. We feel like this is really restrictive and overreach for the very delicate residential construction industry in our market right now and ongoing into the future. We would encourage the commission as well as the council to strike that section from the final copy that's approved. And I can answer any questions. That might be better spending of my time if anybody has any.
Thank you, Ms.
Okay, great. Thanks, guys.
That is the end of citizens' comments.
Next, we move to visitors. Captain Jason Montgomery, Director of Youth Challenge Program.
Captain Jason. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
I wanted to come before the board after speaking with Mr. Chavez. We've been knowing each other over 13 years. And one of the things that I wanted to offer to the city of Shreveport and also the parish of Caddo is the services of the cadets of the Youth Challenge Program. Just a little brief overview about the program. It's a 22-week program for 16 to 18-year-old youths who've kind of strayed their way in school. We are approved alternative education site. We offer 3 paths of education for the cadets. They can come and get their high set. They can move towards getting their diploma, and here shortly we'll have credit recovery that the cadets will be able to go through. Moving past that, all of the cadets that come into the program, they have to have 40 hours of service to the community upon graduation. How that affects the citizens of Louisiana, we're dealing with a litter problem, as you all are aware. The state of Louisiana is roughly $40 million spent on litter, to date. So I would hope that the Caddo Commission will consider in the different districts partnering with the Youth Challenge Program and allowing us to come into your neighborhoods, taking care of your streets, your highways and byways, your drainage issues and things like that, and kind of cleaning up some of the concerns for your citizens and your constituents if they may be reaching out to you all having those issues or concerns in your neighborhoods. So I just wanted to take a brief moment, present and offer you all our services. Mr. Chavez does have my contact information, and I can be reached, and I would like to sit down and partner with you all and find solutions to the problems that we have for Caddo Parish.
Captain Montgomery, the board lit up when you talked about commissioners being able to welcome your youth cadets into the neighborhoods to help clean up, and so we will start with Commissioner Middleton.
Thank you, sir. That'd be me. Appreciate your service and appreciate what you're doing. I'm somewhat familiar. Just came out of a meeting right before this with the mayor's office, and we talked about using y'all on some projects that are coming up, particularly over the next two big events we have, Rockets Over the Red and the Independence Bowl, getting y'all to help clean up. I'm going to ask you to give me your contact information.
Absolutely.
And because we just had that meeting in the last 45 minutes. So Donna Curtis with Shreveport Green may be in contact with you, or Arlena Acree. But I tell you what, I know that you helped out Mario's area a couple weeks ago, and that's great. That's what we need. Hope the best for you and your kids. So anything you can do to help us on these two projects, we'd really appreciate. So
Absolutely.
I ask you to give you some information before you leave out, okay, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you again for what you did.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Middleton. Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, President. First off, Captain Montgomery, he's a war veteran, so I appreciate you coming down here. I appreciate all the work that you guys do for the Youth Challenge Program. Like he said, they came out to my district about 2 weeks ago, and 20 cadets picked up 64 trash bags, contractor-sized trash bags of garbage off of Mansfield Road and Burt Coons at the intersection, as well as a trailer with about 50 tires, believe it or not, that were stuck in the ditches, a couch, a full-size couch that was thrown in a ditch, among with a bunch of other stuff. That we actually had to find a place to go put all this stuff, so we had to go take it to the dump. We had so much trash. That's the kind of things that Captain has to offer. Is these guys can come out at no charge to the parish, and the cadets have to get the community service. So I really appreciate you guys coming down and offering your services, this free asset that the parish can utilize for all the commissioners and for the citizens. So thank you, Jason. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. Mario, I did receive the email, and we'll be submitting that application for Mansfield Road.
These guys are going to adopt Mansfield Road, a stretch of it, to actually come clean up. So
That's right.
I mean, you guys are awesome. That's all,
Thank you,
President.
Commissioner Chavez. Commissioner Bowman.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I just wanted to commend you as well. First of all, thank you, Captain Jason, for your service and protecting us, and also what you have been doing. I know District 5 and 7, we do an annual cleanup as well, so this ties right along with. But just what you've been doing just with the young people, and I've conversed with Commissioner Chavez as well as I met just some of those out there, and it's remarkable. And I think it's going to be great for just people in the city or parish to also get a chance to be exposed to see the great things that they're doing, and it maybe can be a reminder for some of us who live here every day what we should be doing, second nature. So I just want to thank you and commend you for what you've done serving and what you're doing now with the youth program.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Commissioner Bowman. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you. Captain Montgomery, I guess I got a couple questions. One, what other programs do you have the youth doing besides the trash?
Well, we are approved the Alternative Education Center. So the cadets, they attend school 5 days a week, just as they were normal in a normal school setting. The cadets also have the opportunity to go to Bossier Parish Community College. We have a partnership with Dixie, and they provide educational services for our cadets so that they can get college credit while they're also in the classroom. Another partnership that we have is with the Northwest Louisiana Technical College, and we send kids there for heavy equipment training. They get certification there, and also patient care technician, which they also get a certification. So essentially, the kids are normal kids while they're in the cycle. They're just with us. They don't go home in the evening time. We feed them, take care of all of the needs that they have at no cost to the citizens of Louisiana.
Okay. What's the maximum number of cadets you can have?
My site houses 325 cadets, and it's a 22-week program. We start in February, and our second start date is in August. During that time, the cadets have a family day. They also have home passes. Of course, they'll go home for Christmas so that they can enjoy their time with their family, come back to us, and they'll graduate in January.
To me, this sounds like a good program for some of the juvenile delinquents that we house, and I think you should actually have a good conversation with Clay Walker as an alternative, instead of putting them in a cell, that they could get into the program of the cadets and then be able to get their minds right so that they can become productive citizens and then be able to get a trade or be able to go to school and get some type of education. And I'll be looking forward to working more with that than to be just have me out in the neighborhood picking up trash. I mean, that's part of community service, true enough. But at the same time, if you can get into the schools and show some of the testimonies of some of the cadets of how they was actually on the wrong track, and through the program, they actually, got better, and some of the ones might have graduated from Dipsy or got a trade, then to me, that would be more beneficial for them. Now, the cleanup is fine, but I think that kind of helps the whole process along, and then it gives parents that has that child that they can't control, but they don't want their child to end up in the casket, or they don't want their child to end up in jail, that they might say, hey, see what you can do for them for 22 weeks. And that's another process of possibility. So I would also like your contact information. So I think if you could give it to Michelle or Todd, and then pretty much give it out to all the commissioners, then we can kind of talk to you and find out what you can do and what you can't do. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. And again, for me, thank you so much for everything that you're doing. Is there a parameter of ages of who?
They have to be 16 once they enter the program, and they can graduate at 19, but they have to be 18 day one when the program begins.
Thank you so much. And Caddo Parish citizens or outside of Caddo, who?
64 parishes is what we represent. Entire state.
Okay, all 64.
Entire state.
And you'll send us a form or something, I guess, when you give the information to Michelle, we'll be able to work with, because I have several youth to send over. And then also, just in case you want to show up this Saturday, and this is for everybody, this Saturday at Highland Park, we'll be doing a cleanup for the whole park area. And so there's still more people that want to speak, but thank you. Commissioner Dominic.
Where are you guys, where are y'all housed at?
We're out of Camp Minden.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And obviously this is kind of for, I guess, at-risk youth, kids trying to get their GEDs, kids that had problems at home and things of that nature.
Well, majority of the kids that we get, the high school dropouts, as you may be aware, a kid will drop out of high school, and they're usually going to drop out. They have a C or better average. So the kids that we typically get our clientele are kids who are most likely bored in class, probably too smart for their own good, right. Socially awkward, play more video games than interacting with other individuals. So the parents want to kind of get them out into a different setting so that they can interact with other youth and try to complete their educational requirements.
Well, I think Commissioner Johnson and I are kind of on the same board. I'm the chairman of the Juvenile Justice Committee, and I was kind of thinking the same thing. We'd like for you to at least talk or spend some time with Clay Walker, our director. There may be some issues to where we have some youth who, could go through the program successfully without having to do other things, send them to jail and those type of things.
Absolutely. I would be more than happy to come and sit down with you all and talk about the program, how it's structured, how, the entire process from start to finish and what we can offer you all. We do have a partnership, and we work with the local juvenile system.
I'll be talking to Mr. Walker. He's giving me a thumbs up, so he's going to be contacting you, okay? I appreciate it.
All right, you're very welcome, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Dominic. Commissioner Jackson.
Yes, I appreciate you for coming down, and I just wanted to see if you didn't mind the 3 cadets coming up. I would love to hear from you.
Yeah, absolutely. They're from you all's district. They're
just to introduce themselves.
Come up, please.
That's right. If I had been thinking, I would have asked the president to let him lead the pledge, but we weren't thinking of it.
Brother Hall. But welcome for your name and what you enjoy about the program.
What am I with?
Your name and what you enjoy about the Youth Challenge program.
I'm Anthony Hunter. I enjoy, right now, I'm taking classes to get certified for my heavy equipment operating class. That's one thing I enjoy. they come in. It's a lot more in the community service stuff we do for the community, definitely, because I'm from here and we come here a lot. So, you know, we get to help around the neighborhoods where I'm from. And it's some more, but, you know.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm Quincy Gladney. What I enjoy about the Youth Challenge program is I'm more focused than I would be in regular school, and I want to go to the military, so that's why I came up here.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
My name is Jimmy Hoof. One thing I really like about the program is I never really fit into regular high school, and this is pretty much my second chance to get my education, get out in the real world, and get a job, be successful in my life. That's what I like about the Youth Challenge program.
Cool. Thank you.
Well, I just want to thank Commissioner Chavez for inviting you guys. Thank you for bringing them down with you so they can see how the front lines of government works. And we're going to look forward to you guys after you finish your stand-in youth challenge and whatever you choose to do, whether it's the Army, Air Force, whatever branch of the military you choose to go into, to come back to Caddo, Shreveport, and be productive citizens. I like what you said about the second chance. I had a chance to come to your graduation once before, and I just enjoyed all of those cadets walking across the stage knowing that they had another ticket to life. And so we appreciate you guys for being the example for that.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Coppel.
Thank you, Captain, for coming down, Captain Montgomery, for your service and what you do in this local community. I'm an individual. I like to delve into empirical data. So I think you got an excellent program here. But what I want to ask you, whether or not you warehouse information that track these students after they leave. So over a 5-year period of time, you can say how many people had a certification in welding or whatever certification get in. How many kids fell by the wayside, and if they did fall by the wayside, what program could have done better to produce a better product? So can you share with us any of that type of empirical data? Okay.
So to speak to the data portion of it, it's a 22-week program residential. We track the kids, follow the kids for another 12 months after they graduate.
Okay.
So we have case managers that work with them every month, every day, and we send them a little bit of money.
Okay.
Help them out with transportation to go to work. We'll, provide codes for them if they need business codes to go for.
Captain Montgomery,
Could you go
would you go to the mic,
so
please,
that
sir?
it picks you up?
I'm sorry.
All the meetings are recorded, and
Okay.
if you're at the mic, it'll get you.
Yes, sir. So for 12 months, we track the kids. The case manager has an individual caseload of all of the kids. So for 12 months, we track that information. And we also do 5-year reach backs, if you will. And that's where the case managers compile data to see exactly where the kids are. Are they still in Louisiana? Did they move to Texas? And all of that information is kind of gathered and stored at the NGB level in Washington, D.C. But you will be proud to know that we have 3 programs in the state of Louisiana. We went to a Leads conference or National Directors Conference in September. The 3 programs in the state of Louisiana were ranked the 1, 2, 3 nationally out of 36 programs. As far as the attrition rate of the kids coming into the program in order to graduate them, also the placement rate. That's the most important piece, because 22 weeks, you can fake it, if you will, but once you graduate, that's really the true test, and our placement rate is roughly about 83%, and that's from start to finish, from day 1 when they graduate till month 12. Them checking in, being positively placed in order to ensure that they're productive citizens for the state of Louisiana.
Oh, right.
Pretty good.
Thank you, Commissioner Copland.
You can do Gage Watts and then
Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Captain Jason, thank you so much for your service. And I believe that our prayers have been answered through your organization with dealing with the juvenile justice. And I am so in tune with Commissioner Johnson and Commissioner Dominic has said about you getting involved. Of course, with Mr. Clay Walker. He has all the thumbs up about this. This is very important because of what we're facing and having to make a decision for 17-year-olds who would possibly be entering our juvenile detention center. And with 16-year-olds being accepted at your center, giving them that alternative, you know, to jail, because I do not want to see the youth in jail at any cost. And I understand that sometimes that happens. But I think this is a great organization to help the children to cultivate their gifts and putting them on the right path so they can know where they should be as far as their career in life. So I would like to say thank you for sharing with us on today and being so brave to come before the microphone and talk to these people around this horseshoe. I know you were a little nervous at first, but we're here for you. And if there's anything that we can do to continue to help you with this organization, we are here. I can't wait to get all of your contact information. I think it's awesome that you are giving back to the community too, because that is so important at a very early age. It's instilling something that they can take with them forever. So I'm very grateful for you and your organization. Don't know who I did was, but I am grateful.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you, Ms. White.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Bowman.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I just want to share a little known Caddo Shreveport fact and another reason why this organization and what's going on works, and the proof in the pudding. There's a man that I know that I look up to and respect, who's also served in the military, who came through that program. His name is Commissioner Mario Chavez. So
Thank you, Commissioner Bowman.
look where he is today. So that means you all can do anything. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you, Commissioner Bowman. Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you. One last time, I just wanted to reiterate on something that you brought up. Although they have protocols in place, and I want Captain to explain on this, something that's more important than matrix on how a cadet is doing, because my mentor actually called me today to say, hey, what are you doing today? I hadn't heard from you in a while. 18 years later, they have mentors that each cadet gets, and I'd like him to elaborate on the mentor system for checks and balances.
Yes. So for the 12 months, while the kids are during the residential phase, we have a mentor pool, or a kid brings in a mentor, someone who's positive in their life that would not mind mentoring them for 12 months, or like Mr. Chavez mentioned, for life. And that mentor is partnered with that child. They have unlimited contact, whereas the parents have limited contact while they're in the residential phase. The mentors can come out and visit the kid as long as it's approved, as long as they go through the proper channels, where the parents have family day. And that's it. And we limit that for the reasons of the outside contact and things like that. And that mentor is essentially, what we hope is that they build a strong enough bond within the residential phase through the post-residential phase, where that'll continue on throughout life.
Thanks, sir. Commissioner Dominic.
One more last question.
Yes, sir.
Where do y'all get your funding? Is it for federal military funding, state, or how does that work?
The Department of the Defense, they fund us at 75%, and the state of Louisiana funds us at 25%.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. That is everybody on the board, and thank you so much for coming down here, and thank you, cadets, for taking time out of your day to visit with us. It was really an honor for all of us to get to see the four of y'all today. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Next on the agenda, Mr. Hoffman.
Next, we move to the Administrator's Report. Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
President Lynn, I just want to make you all aware that the juvenile judges and Mr. Ted Cox utilize this program extensively.
Yeah.
So we have them in a program posting the codes for us, so we believe in what they do. I've been out and visited them before, and they're a great program. So we will continue to utilize them, particularly as an alternative to incarceration where practical. We have a presentation today from the Shreveport-Bossier Business Alliance of Higher Education, Dr. Janetta Maker. She's going to give us a...
Janette.
Janetta? I'm sorry.
Janette.
Sorry. Sorry, Doc.
Dr. Janette.
That's always easier.
No problem.
Just Doc.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm Johnette Magner. I'm the Executive Director of the Shreveport-Bossier Business Alliance for Higher Education. I know many of you from being here last year and visiting with all of you, but I know I have some new faces too, so I want to introduce myself to the entire group. Our mission is to promote economic development by aligning the offerings of higher education with the needs of the business community. So basically, I'm a advocate for all of the colleges and universities in Northwest Louisiana. I'm here today actually to begin by thanking you. You all funded us very generously for 2 years, and I got to tell you, you enabled us to do a lot of really good and important work. I'm not actually here today to ask for anything. I'm simply here today to tell you what's ahead in higher education, to give you an overview of what we can expect generally on the state level, but also talk about our individual schools. I wish I could tell you that I've brought all kinds of wonderful, great news, but unfortunately I haven't. I'm just going to put it to you like it really is. I want to mention too that you all have a packet in front of you. It includes a PowerPoint presentation that is currently on the Board of Regents website from the Commissioner of Higher Education. It does include some special information on Northwest Louisiana. I've attached my business card for those of you who are not currently getting the SBBA newsletter that I send out by email. If you want to get that newsletter and you don't, just pick up your phone right now and email me and say, sign me up, and I will put you into constant contact, because I do. The newsletter is obviously free of charge, and we're eager to keep everyone informed on what's going on. All right, so to talk a little bit about what's ahead. Within the last hour, we got some very disappointing news out of the LOSFA office in Baton Rouge. We all knew going into the legislative session that, in fact, we were looking at a cut to TOPS. The legislature was optimistic that we would find that we had more revenue coming in this fall than they had expected. So we front-loaded TOPS, which means that we paid 93% of what students were eligible for in the fall. As you all know from following the newspapers, we in fact don't have extra money in the state coffers. We have a $300 million deficit from last fiscal year that we're going to have to make up, and we don't even know what our deficit is for this year. So bottom line is there is no extra money for TOPS. So if you take a look at this sheet right here, again, I just received it within the last hour. And this is a breakdown of what TOPS is going to pay for students. And I've highlighted in yellow our schools in the region. And let me give you the simplest way to interpret this. If we look at LSU Shreveport, the state paid $2,499.73 in tuition for fall. For spring, that same student's going to receive $1,122.81 toward tuition. So the difference between those two numbers is what our families, the students and their parents, are going to have to make up. Wow. It is a lot. Now, we being the state, told families that we were expecting a TOPS shortfall, and there was hope that families would prepare, but we also gave them false hope that we could in fact perhaps find money, as the state has been known to find money from time to time, but it did not find it. So that's what we are looking at. So as you go down, you see, for example, Southern and Shreveport, last semester, this fall, they covered $1,218. This spring, it's only going to be $547. So this is going to be very tough on our schools. So let's talk about what these students are to do, and what I would encourage you to tell your constituents who call you and are concerned about this. First of all, our true TOPS-heavy schools, only one is in North Louisiana, and that's Louisiana Tech. So the students who receive TOPS, most of them tend to go to LSU in Baton Rouge, Louisiana Tech, University of Louisiana Lafayette, or Southeastern. But as we know, we do have top students at all schools. The schools are handling this in different ways. Some of the schools that do have more generous endowments and scholarship money are in fact going to begin applying something of a needs test. So they'll say, hey, if you're a top student and you also have demonstrated financial need, then we're going to look at replacing some of that loss, or perhaps even all of it, with assistance provided by the school. But again, it's on a case-by-case basis. I really think the important thing to tell families is to call the school. you need to call the financial aid office and say, look, this is what my situation looks like. Here are my particular family circumstances. What kind of need is, what kind of aid is available to me? And of course, there are all kinds of work programs within the schools that they may be eligible for as well. But the sooner they make those calls, and the more likely they are to have options before them. But yes, this TOPS cut is very real, and it's going to be very painful. A couple other things that I think are important to note, and remember too that we're going to see some students say, I just can't do this. I just can't afford it. And that's going to be really hard on our schools too, because since 2008, we've cut state funding to higher education more than any other state in the country. And so we've basically flipped our funding model. In 2008, the state covered about 70% of the cost. Today, it's only about 30%. So the schools that are financially thriving are the ones that have growing numbers of students. So as you can imagine, if TOPS is cut to this degree, you're going to see some of those students not be able to continue. Now, they have a couple of choices. You're going to have some who are going to sit out just simply because they can't. But we also may see more students. You could, for example, at a BIPC or a Southern or an LSUS, see a growth in enrollment, because what we may have is students who went off to LSU and their families are going to sit down and they're going to crunch the numbers at Christmas, and they're going to say, why don't you come back to Shreveport-Bossier, live at home, we'll save that money, and then you can go to LSUS. And that way we won't suffer the hit we would suffer if we sent you back to Baton Rouge. So it is very possible that many of our students who've left this region to go off to school are in fact going to end up coming back and going to their local school and living at home with family members. If you look also, a couple of other things that are important as we look at the overall picture. You know, one of the things, if you look on page 4 of your handout, that I think is really important to note, you know, we talk about how much money the state used to give us and how much money they give us now, but one important variable that I don't think a lot of people fully appreciate is how much we give the state back. And what I mean back is in retiree cost, other costs such as that. So 60 cents, and again, this comes from the Commissioner of Higher Ed, 66 cents of every dollar in state funding we get for higher education, we give back to them. So we give 2/3, and there are actually some colleges, not up here, but some colleges in the state where they give more money back to the state than they get from the state. And some of those schools are like, well, what if we just break off and you keep yours and we'll keep ours, because this is not a good deal at all. But we're going to begin to see more and more schools, even up here in this region, get closer to what I'd call that even point where they're actually not getting anything from the state because they're giving just as much back. We also have recently gotten a change in the funding formula. The funding formula that was used for many years under GRAD Act did not do what it was intended to do. In fact, it punished the schools that were growing, like Bossier Parish Community College received the smallest percentage of their funding formula of any school in the state, because there were built-in protections for schools that weren't doing particularly well. That funding formula was also designed assuming the state was going to always put up its money, as we saw that it did not. So we do have a new funding formula that we'll be watching and following to see who the winners and the losers will be. I do think our two-year colleges, though, are going to come out much better under the new formula funding. Tuition authority, that was a big disappointment for us. The higher education community and business community, everyone from cable to the chambers to UBET really thought that it was important to put tuition authority in the hands of the higher education systems, because now they're having to operate like businesses. They're not bureaucracies anymore. They have to make market-based decisions, and they don't have that power. In fact, we're only one of two states in the country that where the legislature decides on tuition. But the voters voted it down, as you know, and the belief is that they simply were afraid it would give them just a license to just go crazy with tuition dollars. And knowing that TOPS was coming down with a cut, and you've got so many students who've watched their tuition go up yearly, they were just really afraid of having that happen. Final thing that I want you to know we're going to keep a close eye on that I think is going to be really important. You're not hearing a lot of talk about it, but I actually watched some testimony before the Board of Regents, and I think this could end up being a big deal. The Board of Regents is now taking up a project they've named Elevate Louisiana, and it's a project that a Senator Hewitt passed legislation and said that they had to do. One part of that project is what we call the financial stress test. So for the first time, they have assigned scores to our institutions, and if you fell below the score of 1.75 on a 5-point scale, you were considered financially at risk. There were 4 schools around the state that made the financial risk list, and 3 of them are up here. Our medical school made the list, Southern University Shreveport made the list, and Grambling did. So it's designed to be kind of an early warning system, but it's important for another reason as well, and that is because the Board of Regents has been tasked by this senator with coming up with a set of metrics, a plan for how we judge the performance of our schools across the state and whether, in fact, they're meeting the needs of the state, their communities, the students. And those metrics will then be used to determine what to do with them. And among do with them is merging and closing. So the Board of Regents does not want to put out a plan to the legislature next year and say, we recommend you close this school, you merge this one, you get rid of this program. They are really reluctant, but the state senator who testified before him said that's in fact what the senator wants. Now, you would naturally assume that whatever would be put before the legislature wouldn't get very far, because you're going to have coalitions building, hey, I'll vote to keep yours open, you vote to keep mine open, you know, none of this goes anywhere. But this senator has also said she will go so far as to create what I describe as a BRAC-type commission, where you create then an independent body that would look at all of this and decide, in fact, what to do. And that could be put before the voters in the fall. Again, we're a long distance between here and there, but we sure don't want to wake up one day, as we've always said with the SBBA, and find out that Baton Rouge has decided what they're going to do with us, and we didn't know anything about it or see it coming. So those are the main things going on right now in higher education. Again, my organization is staying on top of these things, constantly communicating with the chancellors about their particular needs, and making sure that nothing happens in Baton Rouge, not only without our knowledge, but without our input. So at this point, I will take any questions. I thank you for letting me come visit with you, and if you wish for me to come twice a year and give you an update or something like that, I'm happy to do it. I'm pleased to be a resource for you.
Thank you, Dr. Magner. We do have commissioners on the board. Vice President Jackson.
Thanks. Dr. Magner, I appreciate all that you... I'm a horse. I was at my alma mater, Woodlawn. We had a playoff game up here. And, I was the lead crowd cheerleader. But thank you for all that you do in advocating and looking out for the landscape of higher education here in Shreveport. You mentioned the change with TOPS and the scenarios where a student could hypothetically leave LSUS, and this is just all hypothetical, or leave a Grambling or leave a Louisiana Tech and come to a BIPC, or just these kind of scenarios to make it work. But wouldn't that, under the Board of Regents funding formula, wouldn't that hurt them for their completer rate? I don't think BIPC would get the either graduation rate or completer rate, because I believe one of them it goes back to where the students started or something like
Yes,
that.
that is graduation rate, but you also have retention, which is part of it all, as well as other variables. I haven't drilled down into that, but that's a good question, and that will be something we will look at and certainly follow. But as you know, graduation rates are really very misleading because they don't count that student who starts at BIPSI and finishes at LSUS. The only people that count are people who start and finish at the same school. And as you all know, many of us start at two-year schools, or we decide this school isn't for us and we want to go somewhere else, and those students aren't counted. And in fact, they are college graduates and they're in the workforce, and they should be.
And if somebody has to sit out a semester, then that's your graduation rate being hurt again. So it sounds like they're going to sounds like they're darned if they do, darned if they don't.
Right.
And it's just an overwhelming task that you guys are taking on. I've been mentioning this to Rod at University of Health, and I've mentioned it several times here, and we just need to pull the trigger. And I reached out to you about it, and I apologize I didn't get a chance to follow up. I definitely want to ask you when we get the committee or, kind of blue ribbon commission going, because I would like to see, at least for North Louisiana, us go back to the Eva Klein report and say, guys, that report came out. We know what it said. Some coalitions were formed. I think some misinformation was put out, and I'm just speaking for myself. I think we kind of missed an opportunity there to really create the higher education system here in Shreveport. And I think I saw Dr. Tim Magner come in as well. And so, I'll be interested as we also look at our higher education health center here and our hospital. I had a conversation about how can we build a robust, institution here in Northwest Louisiana, as opposed to somebody from Baton Rouge or the folks from Baton Rouge telling us this is what y'all are going to end up with as a result of these things. I think we missed that look at opportunity. So thank you.
Well, who knows what is ahead, but as the Board of Regents works on this plan, they're going to be stepping back and really just taking a look at the entire landscape and say, what do we have too much of this here and not enough of this here? And I will say the project makes me a bit nervous, but fortunately we do have a good relationship with the staff and the members of the Board of Regents, and I think they will look to us for guidance on what we need in particular. And then, of course, during the legislative session, we'll all be down there making our views known.
Bringing something for us to form that committee, and hopefully you guys will play an active role as SBDA. I know you also take an interest in the health school, science center as well, so appreciate you.
Oh, yes, we worry a lot about the medical school, but it does appear to have a new funding formula, and we certainly hope that this new formula is successful and puts them on more stable footing.
Thank you, Vice President Jackson. Commissioner Atkins?
Dr. Magner already addressed my question. It was about tuition authority. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Bowman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to thank you again for updating us and giving us the information. I was wondering, you were saying how we could notify even the constituents. I was wondering for the top recipients, those maybe like in this semester, is information already being mailed out for them to know? Because that's like a 67% difference, especially for, I know, like I see the Waynes, Mr. Billy Wayne, Ms. Leela, they deal with education all the time, and this ties in, even Commissioner Johnson, some of them have students in these institutions too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay, so that is already being disseminated?
It is. I believe they sent the letters out today. So the news broke through the Baton Rouge Advocate now about an hour and a half ago,
yes,
where I found it. But no, it was an official announcement today with the letters going out, and I would expect again many of our schools to have a plan in place and be reaching out to those students as well to talk about their individual particular cases.
Thank you so much.
Certainly.
Thank you, Commissioner Bowman. Dr. Magner, that is everybody on the board. Thank you so much for addressing us today, and we would like to report how every other quarter or whenever you find that there's relevant information that we need to get on top of and how we may assist you.
All right, well, thank you very much, and I do hope that maybe next time when I come, I'll have some good news to share.
And Vice President Jackson's back on the board. No, something else. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Magner, thanks. Appreciate it. Commissioners, we had a budget retreat this morning. We don't have another one scheduled with you all individually as a group. So if you have any questions about the budget, we have a budget hearing and then a budget adoption. So we'll be glad to entertain, if we meet with you one-on-one to answer your questions about the budget. Please let us know. We'd be glad to do that for you. And that concludes my report for today.
Vice President Jackson.
I'm on the communication.
Okay. Nobody else is on the board. Excuse me. Commissioner Dominic, you under
I'm on.
communications also?
Yeah.
Next item, please, Mr. Hopkins.
Next, we move to communications committee reports. Note public hearing on Caddo Parish operating capital improvement budget for 2017 will be held Thursday at the regular session.
Thank you. Commissioner Jackson.
Yeah, just wanted to, as always, kind of give my congratulations here to the Texas Avenue Makers Fair. I had a chance to just kind of tiptoe in briefly this past Saturday, and you know, those are individuals who are, you know, making these projects locally here, using products here, and got a chance to demonstrate. Got some early Christmas shopping going, so appreciate those guys. I think Monty Walford is involved with them, and the whole Texas Avenue Makers Fair Coalition. I also want to, and Commissioner Cawthorn stepped out, but congratulate the Mighty Knights at Woodlawn High School on the victory this past weekend. They'll have another playoff game coming up. They'll host the playoff game this Friday, so Commissioner Atkins, I'll come pick you up at 7 so we can go out there.
I'm sure we'd have a good time.
Yeah. Economic Development Committee will meet this Thursday at adjournment. Crystal, Dr. Wilson, can you check to see if the website, because there was some email traffic going on, is the website ready?
Give you an update.
Are you ready for it today? Or
No, sir.
Okay.
No, I made a note of that.
I got you.
So make sure you get an update on
Okay,
that.
because what I was going off of was the meeting minutes from September 9th that said that the website would be ready to launch on October 31st. And I don't know if that was a misprint or what, but that's what I was going off of. So, and NLEP doesn't have to be present for that.
Okay.
If they just want to turn that over to Crystal and Nathan, and then we go from there.
Okay.
And that's it for me. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Dominic.
Just quick, we were going to have a Juvenile Justice Committee meeting today, but I had a meeting later tonight, so we couldn't do that. It's moved to Thursday till 2 o'clock. Juvenile Justice Committee, so hope to see you there. All that are on the Mike, Stormy. See y'all Thursday.
Thank you, Commissioner Dominic. Commissioner Johnson.
We had a personnel policy and procedures meeting today, right before our work session, basically talking about setting up standing committees moving forward. And in that discussion, there was a slight modification to the original resolution. We did allocate funding for the appropriations committee to come out of Riverboat and economic development to come out of video poker. The other piece that was modified was the not being on the committee for a year to be eligible to be chairman. The committee felt that that wasn't necessary to do, so we took that out of the resolution. Other than that, everything else stayed the same.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Middleton.
We will have an Animal Services Committee meeting this Thursday at 1 o'clock, and here probably in the back room. Also, this Saturday, November the 19th, from 10 to 2, there'll be a free rabies clinic at CPOS, Caddo Parish Animal Shelter. So anybody that's not in compliant right now, if you go ahead and come up there and get that free, it'll be nice.
Any people? Nothing is free in life.
And we are also, there's also some other things we're looking at on the incoming ordinance, and maybe delaying its implementation for 60 days from January 1st to March 1st as we explore some other things, some challenges we have in that, and so we're going to be looking at doing that too. So we'll have some legislation next time, whatever it takes to be able to make that happen through delay implementation. Ms. Frazier will advise me on that. That's it for now. Thank you, Mr. Frazier.
Thank you, Commissioner Middleton. Commissioner Bowman.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I just want to say I'd be remiss, and respectfully I have to say this for Commissioner Epperson and Caddo Parish. Commissioner, you should be very proud. I know everyone has a copy of this. It was a phenomenal parade. It was outstanding program honoring the military men and women. It was an honor to see the women who actually have done some things and served, and one of a kind, class act, chairperson. I know it was a team, but you really, you deserve a whole bunch of kudos for what you did.
I got the flowers in the back. I got them in the back. Yeah. Got the flowers in the back.
Yeah, but for those of you who did not, you really missed out. But this is something we all should be proud of, and I'll be honest, you know, as macho as I am, as Ken says, not really, but I was almost in tears just hearing like the testimonies and the things that the people are being honored for, and you can look in the program book to see, you know, a brief excerpt of what they've done and been honored for. But Caddo Parish, Bossier, we should be proud, but Commissioner Epperson, I'm very proud of you, and I just honor you for what you've done for years, and each year it gets better and better.
Amen. Thank you, Commissioner Bowman. Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts.
Thank you. I have to piggyback off of that. It was an excellent ceremony, an excellent parade. Caddo Parish Commissioner Middleton was all decked out in his uniform. I think we got a picture of that somewhere, Dr. Wilson.
Put on Facebook.
Yes. And he was out there early that morning. Of course, Michelle is always right there.
Yes.
Working hard with the parade, but it is an excellent ceremony. It's the largest in the state of Louisiana that honors veterans during this time. Of course, the cover featuring women on the front and the back is so duly to be recognized, and I am grateful for that. But just to be able to know that this event is housed in Caddo Parish, I would love for more of our constituents to come out and support this event. And I would like, of course, I always give something to my colleagues to do, to make sure that next year's event is standing room only, to make sure that you reach out to your constituents and let them know that you are cordially invited to this celebration. This is a celebration of life, so that we celebrate the freedom that has been given to us so that we can enjoy the life that we have. So thank you, Commissioner Epperson, again, and I know that it is about the entire committee. He makes sure that it is no I in this team, that it is all about team effort and teamwork making the dream work, but it's a great event for Caddo Parish, so thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts. Commissioner Epperson.
Now, you all gonna have to recognize seniority. Mr. Middleton and I were waiting on some other information to come in, and we are going to make a report Thursday, but I appreciate
I don't want to steal in that thunder. I just want to acknowledge it.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Epperson. Commissioner Jackson.
Yeah, I did want to, I think this is in your area, Commissioner Johnson. There was an issue on Whispering Lake. So if you could get with Robert, they said, I didn't know it was in the city limits, but they said the city came and tore up the grass or something and didn't put, it's just dirt or something, and they've been waiting for about 2 months now. So, but it's Whispering Lake in that subdivision. I think it's Whispering Lake or something. It's back there off of Old Morning Sport Road, Lakewood subdivision, something like that. So if you could check on it. Then they also some flooding issues. Some flooding issues about drainage, and they said it's a parish road. So it's a parish road that's flooded. So something's going on there. But I got that note yesterday as I was walking out of church at 2 o'clock. Commissioner.
Did you get addresses or some other stuff?
He just said Whispering Lake or Lakewood subdivision is what he told me. So that's all he told me was Whispering Lake Drive. So I assume it's the whole street, I guess. But I can get you his contact information as well. Appreciate it. But I think it's
Inside
I
the
think
city
it's
limits.
yours. I think it's yours.
It is, but it's inside the city.
Okay. I don't know.
I'm telling you, it's inside the city.
Well, I'm giving it over to you.
Thank you.
Yes, that's it.
Thank you. That's everybody on the board.
President's report.
I'd like to do a moment of silence for Mr. Artis Cash and his family. I knew Artis Cash, and he and I visited from time to time, and I'm friends with his son Matt. Just a moment of silence for their family in their time of grief right now. Amen. Next item.
Next, we move to old business. Authorized resolution number 89 of 2016, amending the rules and bylaws of the Caddo Parish Commission regarding removal of officers.
Move to advance until 2 weeks from now because of bylaw, being a bylaw change.
I second it.
Moved by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts. See no one on the board. Excuse me. Commissioner Johnson, do you want to speak on your motion? No. Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts, do you want to speak on your second?
No.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yeah, Todd, I see two attachments here. What are we adopting?
One was the original that was put, and then the one on top where it says 2, that is with the changes from committee.
Also, one is just the original bylaw.
One was the original resolution, and the second one is the one on top is the one that came out of committee.
And we're adopting the top one.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And the question I have is that which rule and article does this fall under?
Article 5, under rights and duties of the commission.
And that would be rule, which one?
Rule
8,
10.
9?
Pardon?
Rule 10.
8, 9, and 10.
I thought it was 8, too.
Rule 8, 9, and 10 is the ones that have been there.
Says Article 5, Rule 10.
You got Rule 8, 9, and 10.
8. The removal, that the removal procedure is authorized is in 8 and 9. The actual procedure is in Rule 10.
Thank you, Attorney. Thank you. Commissioner Jackson.
Thank you. Yeah, Attorney Frazier, I see the one, and I know you gave these to us. This is what, Demeter or Dieter?
Correct.
And that's what's incorporated here. The portion where it talks about slander and stuff like that, are we following the New York Times versus Sullivan version of slander as it relates to public officials?
Yes.
Because they set a pretty high. Well, y'all laughing, but
Get a case law number also.
Yes, you
It sets a
actually
pretty high
are.
benchmark for slander on there.
Yes.
I just wanted to be sure, because I don't want Commissioner Lynn to come in and call me a liar one day and he'll be subject to removal, because slander has a pretty high benchmark to it for public officials. So I just want to be
Liable
clear.
to it.
I just wanted to be clear.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. No one else is on the board. Please vote.
Jackson, so
Get in there.
That moves forward. Next item.
Next, we move to new business. Zoning case P1716 in regards to ordinance number 5655 of 2016, property located on the south end of West Point Drive, applicant Westlake Development LLC.
Move to forward.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Atkins, second by Commissioner Bowman. I do not see anybody on the board. Please vote. That moves forward. Next item, please.
Authorize introduction of ordinance number 5656, amending ordinance 5580 of 2016 regarding the holding period for impounded dogs and cats and otherwise providing with respect thereto.
I'd like to make a motion to move this to animal services.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Chavez, second by Commissioner Middleton. Commissioner Chavez, do you want to speak on that?
Sure. I'd like the animal services to collaborate with Administrator Wilson and Chuck Wilson to research this further.
That's all. Thank you. Commissioner Middleton, did you want to speak on that? I agree with Commissioner Dominic.
Well, I agree too. I didn't know it was going to a committee. I did talk to Chuck the other day, and no one had spoken to him about it. So I'm agreeable for it to go to the committee, let them look at it and come back. But I do have some questions and concerns that, this is something that was not recommended by the administration, it's not recommended by our director. No one has spoken to him. So as long as that chance is being given, and obviously I'm assuming that it will be at the Animal Service Committee, because I think that's probably where it should have been, then I'm okay with it. But it was just popped up as an ordinance, and I did have some concerns about days, and after speaking to him, moving forward with that. So, if I send it to committee, I'll be fine.
Thank you, Commissioner Dominic. Commissioner Johnson.
I'm good with sending it to committee, but I'm also disagreeable with extending the days, even though it might come up in the committee. One of the reasons I would say that you have the 4 days as opposed to any other days is because you want people to get the dogs tagged and microchipped. And so if they're tagged or microchipped, it extends that to 7 days, as opposed to someone who didn't do it. And by giving them 6 working days, you're pretty much saying, well, I don't really need to get it microchipped or tagged. If my dog gets missing, I mean, one of the first things I'm gonna do is call my neighbors to see, hey, have y'all seen my dog? And second, I'm calling Animal Services to see if they picked up a dog matching the dog that I had. And I will then follow up and go down there to see if my dog is there. So we've had many cases of which we talked about Animal Services, had dogs and cats as a topic, and this room was full of people. So you got people that care very much about their dogs and cats that, I mean, they're going to go and try to find them. They're just like a child to some people. So I just don't think extending it 6 to 6 working days is really something we want to do, when what we really want everybody to do is have the dogs tagged and on microchip. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Chavez.
Thanks, President. I'll speak on the premise of this. As commissioners, we represent the people, and I had a lot of people come to me with the request to move it out just for a following week, on the premise that if somebody goes on vacation on a Monday and their dog gets out, well, the dog can be put down before they return from vacation on that Friday. So giving a 6th working day would give them a fighting chance for the animal to still be alive the following week when the family gets back. And the reason I'm moving this to committee is so that we can talk with Chuck Wilson and Administrator Woody Wilson on what they think about this situation. But again, we work for the people, so this is what they asked me to do, so this is why I'm bringing it on the agenda. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Commissioner Chavez. Commissioner Middleton.
Call for the question.
Second.
Well, you can do an objection.
That was his first time to speak.
Right.
Call for the question.
Right, unless everybody speaks.
Oh.
But, no, I've researched that, and I think call to the question is sometimes called too quickly.
Well, it's going to committee.
Where you can say, is there an, okay, so what I can do is there an objection for calling to the question? Okay, Commissioner Jackson has an objection to calling to the question, you're welcome to speak on it.
I withdraw. Well,
Okay.
I'll get with y'all.
Okay.
All right, we're good. We're good.
So what are we voting on? Call for
Call for the question. Bowling.
I'm in shock over here.
Okay, question's been called, please vote on the issue, sending it to committee. That passes. Moves to, moves to committee. Next
Authorize the
item.
introduction of ordinance number 5657 of 2016, adopting volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances relative to the Unified Development Code and zoning and subdivision generally, repealing Articles 3 of Chapter 48 and Chapter 54 of the Caddo Parish Code of Ordinances and otherwise providing with respect thereto.
I move to refer this to the Long Range Planning Committee.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Jackson, second by Commissioner Chavez to send it to Long Range Planning Committee. You want to speak on your motion?
I just think that it's a lot of information to consume. There's still a lot of questions out. You know, this is not denying it, but this is to give this body an opportunity as a body to discuss some things. And there's still some information put out there, so I think, you know, us getting an opportunity to get around the table. I know Commissioner Chavez has a, what I like to almost call a rocket agenda, so he's not going to drag his feet on it. And we get an opportunity to discuss a lot of these things and work through them, because I still have some questions as well. So we'll support that motion to send it to long-range planning.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Chavez, do you want to speak on your second?
The old saying, act in haste, repent in leisure, comes to mind, so I echo what he has to say. I'd like to give it some time and look over this, that's all.
Thank you. Commissioner Johnson.
Well, I basically said in the meeting we had with the city council, and I guess my first question is, how did it end up on the agenda in the first place? Well, no, but sometimes somebody tells administration to put it there.
Oh, you can do that?
The case? This one? Dr. Wilson?
Which one?
Was this just put on because the NPC voted on it, or was this asked by somebody to you to put on?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so, one, how do you know?
Well, it came down with the discussions after that meeting and the process that it was going to have to take. It had to come down to at least get it on the agenda. Legal had to work on it. Mr. Bernstein worked on it and brought it down, and we assigned it to administration once it came down to this office.
Okay, well, I also think that it should have at least had some commissioner to sponsor it, to be on the agenda, or at least somebody to say they co-signed it with administration.
I'll
For this
co-sign
particular.
it.
You did,
Yeah,
though. You
but
did.
I didn't.
All right. There's a lot of open issues on this UDC. I know that there's always been talk about trying to get this pushed and done before the end of the year, and I really don't see that happening, especially with the discussion we had with the joint city council and commission meeting. We shouldn't be rushing to do this because it's going to impact a lot of people. We heard from the homeowners association, home builders association, and some contractors that there's issues that are out there. I'm hearing from the end user, the general public, that, you know, there's issues out there. During the meeting, found out that there's a lot of different fees that will be associated with a lot of things that's going on in this. So basically, you taxing people without even having any kind of representation, which we shouldn't be doing in the first place. Second piece of it is the appeals process that's on here totally takes us out of the appeals process. And some people say, well, we need to do that, but it takes us out and puts them into district court. And so what's the cost of going to district court as opposed to coming here and either talking to the commission or the city council? Second of all, how long will it stay in district court? Because I know that I had a case that was in 2009 that this was heard by district court in 2015. So that was like 6 years that passed before they even made it to district court. And then when the district court, they just basically told them to give them time to have it redone. And so it really wasn't a major judgment. So I just think that leaving us out of the appeal process is a problem. Not listening to the Builders Association, that's another problem, because they're the ones that's going to be building houses or trying to develop neighborhoods that will then become tax revenue for the parish and the city. Other piece is, you got people that are moving outside of the city limits, they're moving into the parish because they wanted to have a little bit more freedom with their property. And so by imposing the same rules and regulations on a person that's in a rural area as opposed to the ones that's inside the city, now what you're going to do, you're going to run them out of the parish and move them into another parish or move them into another state, and they just drive in, drive out, because, you know, we don't really have much of a traffic jam unless there's an accident, but they can move somewhere else and still get to work on a good time, and now we lose out on some more tax dollars. So I think we just need to pump the brakes, slow down, read through this. This is it's a code that We really don't need to the extent that what it is, because it's gonna hamper a lot of development, especially in the very beginning. I've told you many times of an example of my church. Build a parking lot. Was forced to put in a sprinkler system in the little islands that you have in the parking lot. Well, we did that, then had to pop a panel on Jewella, and then run a line to a water line that the city had marked. So when they popped the panel, ran the line, guess what? Ain't no water line. So we spent an extra $7,000 putting in the piping for a sprinkler system, and there's no water to even connect to. So that'd be some additional cost that's gonna come about because we still gotta tie it in when we do phase 2 of our construction. So just things like that, and it's another church that's trying to build, but can't build now because they've been told they got to put in a parking lot. This is a country church that typically parks on gravel and dirt, and they want to upgrade their building, and now that project is gonna be pretty much on hold because they can't afford a parking lot, and it's outside the city limits. So we just got to look at our region and what's best for the development and the upgrade of the property that we have. And we can't compare Shreveport to Austin or to Charlotte, North Carolina, because we're just not there yet. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Atkins.
Well, I think UDC has done a lot of good work, a lot of good progress that's being made. But I must say I share Commissioner Johnson's concerns regarding tree removal and the appeals process, and I stated that to Mr. Sweeney last week, I guess it was. I just wanted to go on record as still having those concerns. I hope that you and Ms. Dixie can work through some solutions, and I also would like I think we've got some people thinking about the appeals process and how we might improve that. But thank you to work to date, but a few things we're still working on there.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Vice President Jackson.
Yeah, I wanted to just make a friendly amendment to my motion that we wouldn't bring it back before the body before our budget is passed. So will you accept my friendly amendment?
Say it again.
That it does not come back before we pass our budget. So we get our budget process out the way first, and then.
Is that it? Thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioner Chavez.
This one's for Mr. Sweeney. I know one of the biggest concerns was that 10.6 got removed. I wanted to see, had that been removed yet from the UDC?
Come up.
Tree issue.
Right.
That's the tree preservation section that Commissioner Atkins made reference to. We're actually in negotiations with the Home Builders Association on that issue as we speak.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Sweeney.
Yes,
Would
sir.
you let us, the commissioners, know how that goes?
I certainly will.
Okay.
Certainly will.
Thank you, Mr. Sweeney.
You bet.
And is that it? While you're still there, I would ask that whenever we hold that long-range planning committee, that y'all are there in full force to answer any questions.
Yes. Just let us know when that committee does meet, and we'll be ready to present accordingly.
Thank
So.
you. Mr. Hopkins.
Let me just clarify, what happened was it came down from Mr. Stephen Jean from MPC, the ordinance, in a process to try to clear everything up, how these bodies will work together in the future is where Mr. Bernstein came with this ordinance. It was tried in the future, whatever comes out is that both the parish and the city have the same wording and information to make it easier.
Right.
That's where, and I attached administration, so that may be my mistake.
Thank you. That's everybody on the board. Please vote. Voting to send to committee.
With that amendment added?
Yeah, not before our budget is done.
Oh, that's Johnson. All right, that moves to committee. Next item.
Okay, authorize introduction of ordinance number 5659 of 2016. Ordinance to repeal ordinance 5583 regarding site plan review, providing with respect thereto, and I think I just missed one. Let me read that one before it. Authorize introduction of ordinance 5658, amending ordinance regarding the fee for rabies vaccination registration.
Can we do that? Can we say something?
Move that to committee. Commissioner Middleton moves that to committee, second by Commissioner Chavez. I don't see anybody on the board. Please
Well,
vote.
hold on.
Okay, Commissioner Middleton, do you want to speak on that?
Yeah, I think there's some things we still need to look at. Like I said, so I've come in on this on the last part of it, actually, and was convinced of some things that have occurred during the negotiations of all this. I think we need to settle down a little bit and look at this fee and look at several things that deal with the animal services. And Mr. Hopkins, I'll ask that you add this subject to the agenda for Thursday. This is what we already had.
Wait a minute, what?
The one we already had was the delaying the
Number of days.
adding the number of stray days. That's
Okay.
the one we have on there. That's what you have on there. So we're going to add this one if it passes here today. We want to add this.
To go to committee?
Yes.
Okay, well, it'll just go to committee from today.
Yeah.
It won't go to Thursday at all. If you send it to committee today, you won't go to Thursday.
We'll go that's what I'm saying. But
Okay.
on your agenda, I thought you had.
He's talking about his committee meeting Thursday.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, committee
Okay.
meeting. Just add this to it. I'm sorry. I'll get this terminology. I'm getting there.
I understood. Thank you. Commissioner, is that everything, Commissioner Middleton?
Yes, that's it.
Commissioner Chavez, did you want to speak?
Because it's animal services.
Commissioner Johnson.
I just want to, I know this was on there at one time last year.
Yeah.
But it got removed before we voted on it. Can you kind of enlighten me, since you was the chairman last year, Commissioner Bowman, of why we took it off for administrator?
Yes, sir, I certainly can.
I know we had a great discussion about it. And I
yes,
know
sir.
what I talked about, but I just want to make sure the reason why we took it out.
Yes, sir. At the time last year, before the ordinance was put forth for the citizens, for the commission to vote on it, the Citizen Advisory Committee had suggested that we have a fee, but what came out of the committee was that it would be free. And in light of the fact that we got an assessment this year that was different than we had anticipated, we had a position in the budget for 2017 for a person to enter all the data. So with the number being different, we had to take that number back out and readjust the budget accordingly. So we thought we'd go back to the original idea that the citizens had advised us to put some kind of fee in there to cover nominal costs of hiring a person and also for the software fee that have to be paid each year. So that's what this will reflect. We came forward to the committee and asked that they consider putting something back in there to cover the costs of the person we need to hire to manage the program for us.
Okay, so don't we also give Robinson Rescue about $45,000 to do the same deal?
Yes, sir, we do.
To do the same thing?
Yeah, but that's for spay and neuter.
That's what
this
this is.
And this is
Yeah.
for pet registration fees here.
Okay. For rabies?
The rabies and registration fee, well, we're trying to work it towards that one item, or one tag for both items.
Okay,
But
so
we want to register all the pets. That'd be different from the rabies.
so this would be an annual fee each year for a person?
We'll have to decide that in the committee, but technically the answer is yes, but we don't know yet, so that's why we're going back to committee to work out those details.
Okay.
Good memory, Johnson.
I'm done.
Thank you. Commissioner Jackson.
Yeah, so you're saying this is a pet registration fee as well, or are those two together?
Well, we're trying to do both the same. Because the requirement is for a rabies registration. And we're thinking that we can do both with one tag. Is that correct, Donna? So we just want to make sure that we're clear on that going forward. But it does require, a person can take their animal to the vet and get the rabies shot done, but it may not result in a registration.
Oh.
So we want the vets to work with us to enter that data into the system. They could send them to the shelter, and we would enter that data.
Okay. And y'all originally had somebody that was gonna hire somebody to
Yes,
do
sir.
that.
Yes, sir. They'll work the program.
So when you accept, and I have to ask these questions, especially for animal services, because I don't get to.
Sure. That's
I don't
fine.
always attend the animal service committee meeting because of scheduling. So that's why I'm trying to get these out of the way now. So when when the assessments are redone, and I guess they go back up or whatever, will this fee go away or will this fee stay in place, or how's that going?
Actually, we need to decide whether that will be an annual recurring fee or not. maybe some biannual. We have to determine
How
that
is it
yet.
in here as it's written? Is it annually?
Annual fee. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Attorney Frazier.
I was just making sure that I got a chance to address any other questions, but I think y'all have taken care of it.
Thank you. Please vote on the issue.
Send to committee?
Send to committee, yes. That goes to committee. Next item, please.
Now authorize the introduction of ordinance number 5659 to repeal ordinance 5583 of 2016 regarding site plan review.
Move for adoption.
Second. Moved by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Epperson. You want to speak on your motion?
Right, yeah, I'll defer to Vice President.
Oh,
And did you want to speak on your
I
second?
was trying to vote.
Oh.
I was trying to vote.
Oh, okay.
I'm ready to vote.
Okay. Please vote. That moves forward. Next item.
Authorize resolution number 93 of 2016 approving the holding of an election in Caddo Parish Fire District Number 1.
Move to Thursday.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Dominic, second by Commissioner Epperson. Do you want to speak on that?
No.
Commissioner Johnson, you want to?
Yes, it should be District 1 and 2 instead of 1 and 3. That's first thing. And then second, I would like to find out more information about this between now and Thursday for me to vote in favor of it. I just don't like to just impose taxes on people when I don't even know what the tax is about.
Well, it's a renewal.
I know it's a renewal, but at the same time, it's getting like $1 million and some dollars a year. So,
Can we move it to Thursday and I'll get the sheet to?
yeah, I'm good with moving it to Thursday, but I want this information. If not, then I will be voting against it. That's
Okay.
what I'm saying.
Thank you. Commissioner Jackson.
I'd like to englobe resolutions number 93, 94, 95, and 96.
Moved by Commissioner Jackson to englobo those items, second by the chair.
Why you stopped at 96?
Oh, that's it.
Let him go there, man.
Okay, please vote.
Roll with it. I figured it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Let's do it all. Chime in.
Want to read all those first?
That moves forward. Next item.
Move to authorize resolution number 99, amending the rules and bylaws of Caddo Parish Commission to provide the chairmanship of committees.
Move to 2 weeks from now.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Bowman. You want to speak on that?
I'll defer the ones that's on the board.
Commissioner Bowman, do you want to speak on your second? No, sir. Commissioner Jackson.
No, I just wanted to make sure we are gonna get the updated, because this was the one that was amended in committee, so we're gonna attach that one.
Yeah, I'll have it on Thursday's agenda, so you can see, you can also click on it, but you won't be voting on it.
Appreciate it.
I've already sent it.
Okay,
so.
thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Adams.
Commissioner Jackson just asked the same question. We're good.
Commissioner Johnson.
I'm good with that. We can vote on it.
Okay. That's everybody. Please vote. That moves forward. Next item.
Authorize resolution number 100 of 2016, resolution to amend the Caddo Parish Commission bylaws to have all committee meeting minutes formally received by the full commission body.
I'd like to defer this to Personnel Policies Committee.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Epperson, second by Commissioner Dominic, to send it to Personnel and Policies. I don't see anybody on the board. Please vote.
Good work,
Other than that, whatever.
That moves to committee. Next item.
Discuss items regarding proposed amendments to the Caddo Parish Commission bylaws. And amending rules and bylaws of the Caddo Parish Commission regarding time limits for speakers. And amending rules and bylaws of the Caddo Parish Commission regarding time of commission meetings.
I just wanted to throw this out in front of everybody to kick around and to consider that a lot of citizens can't attend our meetings, and we always are encouraging people to attend our meetings. However, on our Thursday meeting, if we moved it to 5, it would certainly make it friendlier for the citizens to attend these meetings. And then each one of us is allowed 7 minutes twice, so 14 minutes to speak on an issue. Whereas when a citizen comes before the body and they have something that means a lot to them, we cut them off at 3 minutes or give their group a maximum amount of time. And I think that when something is relevant to a citizen and we're asking the citizens to come to the meetings, we should give them the respect to give them a little bit more time to address us in great detail. That's it. Vice President Jackson.
Yeah, I don't know if I was just gonna make a motion to remand this to the Personnel and Policies Procedures for at least a 30-day review.
It's not,
It's not on there.
Not on there for
It's not on
action,
there
it's just a
for
discussion
action,
point.
But the
Yeah.
chair of the committee can take that upon themselves.
Yeah, because
But if Mr. Lynn would like to send that information to that committee, he could do that.
I'll do
yeah,
that.
that's my motion, and it got it.
I'll send that to the committee. But it's their choice whether or not they post it.
Correct.
Is there anything else?
No, I mean, I think we're asking this body to go ahead and do it. That's what my motion was.
Well, then that would, we could add it to the agenda.
Yeah, you need to, because this was just a discussion, I think you need to suspend
This
the
is just
rules.
discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw it out there. I wasn't looking for any votes, I just wanted it to be in everybody's headlights to take into consideration on allowing people time to talk. That was it.
I got you. Well, since I'm still on the board, I would withdraw that motion, but I am open to adjusting our meeting times. I meet with folks all the time. I don't know if 5 o'clock is going to be that time. I don't know if 4:30 is going to be that time. But I think we can mitigate a lot of the backlash that we get from citizens saying we don't keep them informed. I do my best. I post stuff on social media. I even pay to post stuff on social media to try to get it out there. And just, I'm open to a comfortable time. No, I don't have a family, so 5 o'clock is not good. Is not bad for me, but I do have a social life, and so there are things that I like to do after 5.
That comes out of your public life.
Right, but that comes out.
This first, buddy.
You're a public servant now.
Well, and I appreciate y'all for completing that. That is something that I'm open to doing. If we have to move back to 5, is putting my public work before my private time. And so I hope that we would just approach this with an open mind, open ears, and open thought. So appreciate you, Mr. President, for putting it out there for consumption, and I'm sure we'll have a lot of citizen feedback on it as well.
Commissioner Johnson.
Okay, I think, I've been here 6 years now, and when the public is want to be engaged in what we do, they have filled this chamber up. Topics dealing with animal services, filled this chamber up. Topics talking about gun control, filled the chamber, pushed the lobby, and also the hall, the foyer. So when the public wants to be engaged, they will get engaged. My constituents tell me that's what they elected me for, is to be able to come down here and be the voice for them. So if they send me emails, they send me notes, they called me, that's the stuff that they want me to talk about, representing them down here at this meeting. I think in the past, they used to meet 1:30 or 2 o'clock, and then it did get pushed back to a 5 at one time, and they moved it back up to 3:30 from the history that I was kind of told about. So this is the time in which it's most convenient for most people. And then you got to think about most people who get off at 5 o'clock, they don't work a full day. They're not really wanting to come down here and sit and talk or listen to us debate and argue sometime about certain topics. They want to get home and get to their family and get to home to relax. And so that's what they figure they pay us for, and that's what we're supposed to be doing. Second of all, by putting this at a later time, we have to look at overtime. You'll have overtime with the deputies that are out there. We got squad employees that work the building that will be here later. And you know the sheriff will defer his overtime costs straight to us. The city will defer their overtime costs straight to us. We could have some employees working in the video room right there. That's going to be an hourly overtime. And then if some are sitting in the audience that has to be here for a particular topic, that's additional overtime. And so, you know, people talk about, oh, be good stewards of government money. Well, to be good stewards of government money, you got to be able to make sure that you know when to come down here, when to have your meeting, and when to cut the meeting off.
This is a prime example, Mr.
Start the
Johnson.
meeting late.
He leaving right now.
That is terrible. So, we got commissioners leaving now. And
That's
then
my
even,
point. Let's cancel and move on.
So, it already shows that it's a bad idea if they leaving now.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Dominic.
Yeah, I reiterate most of what you said. I think that, boy, the overtime out there with the deputies is going to kill us, right? I can tell you right now, we can hear the sheriff saying that. When I ran, you know, we knew the meetings were at 3:30. That's what they've been for the nearly 10 years I've been on the commission meeting. I think it's worked fairly well. If we move it to 5, we're going to be here till 9. Not to say anything bad about citizens, but I do have a family, and I knew it was at 3:30, and normally we're out by 5 or 6 to where, you know, we can spend time with our family. You know, I got kids in baseball and football and different type of activities and homework. I've never had a constituent or resident tell me, you know, when I asked them, I said, well, you need to come to the meeting, that they said, oh, I can't come, I just can't come, you know, I can't get off work. And Commissioner Johnson and I were talking about this earlier, you know, if someone did show up and they couldn't show up till 5 o'clock, during citizens' comments, if they showed up at 5 o'clock, we could always suspend our rules, and we've done this, been very reasonable to allow people to speak. They just come up there and give Todd a card, and Todd says, Mr. Joe Smith showed up and wants to talk, and we'll suspend the rules and let them talk. I think that the amount of time that we've let them speak for 3 minutes is a good time. Again, if it's something pertinent, then we have always made the motions to allow them to talk a little bit longer. And I think those avenues are there, and they should stay there. So, you know, my opinion is to keep it at 3:30, and my opinion is also to keep the speakers, you know, at the 3 minutes, and let us suspend the rules if we need to. I don't think we need to jump into that and suspend the rules. I think we do that a little bit too much. Every time someone's talking, and, you know, in my opinion, they get to rattling and just rattling and going on, and we'll make a motion to suspend to give them more time. We need to use good common sense and continue to work to move our meetings forward. Our meetings have been going fairly long. For a while, you know, I like for them to move a little quicker. So that's my say-so. So, you know, we're just discussing. So I'm discussing it. Try to keep an open mind. Commissioner Lynn, don't mind you bringing this up at all, but that's just my opinion.
Thank you.
And I'm fixing to leave. I got a meeting. I got a meeting at 6 o'clock, and I got to go to. So, guys, I'll see y'all.
I think we've proven our point.
I passed.
Is this what we call for a question?
I won't be leaving in a few minutes myself.
I want to just briefly say this. I think oftentimes I hear from this dais, a lot of people say, well, constituents are calling me and say we need to have meetings at a later time, at a later date. I'm an individual. I like to deal with the empirical data. Okay. So if that constituent, if that's 2 constituents saying that, and you represent 14,000 people, or is it 12,000 people saying that, and you represent 14,000 people? So the point I'm making is that let's not be drawn by the whims of what we hear. Let's use factual and empirical data to make these decisions. Secondly, I've noticed in any government body, whether it be here, whether it be in D.C., and particularly in this locale, if there's an important issue and people, citizens feel concerned about it, they will fill these chambers. Whether that be on gun control, whether that be about dogs, or whether that be about a resolution, or whether that be about coming down asking for some money from this commission. I find it very curious that when people want something out of government, if it's 9 o'clock in the morning, they'll be here, like that commerce meeting we had here, or if it's 3:30 in the evening, they will find themselves hurrying to the city hall chambers to express themselves. And so I just want to say across the board, if we do make these changes, let's deal in facts and empirical data, and make sure it's a change that's going to be actually accommodating the citizens of this parish. Thank you.
I agree. Thank you, Commissioner Chavez.
Thanks, President. Well, I guess I applaud you for bringing this up as a discussion. I think everybody knows exactly where we should go with it, so I don't need to say anything, but thanks for bringing that to everybody's attention. That's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts.
Yes, sir. I must share the same sentiments that I've heard today. I've been in meetings this morning since 10 a.m. and still have another meeting to attend when I leave here, so I'm about to be excused myself. And after that, I have 3, 6, and 12 at home, and I'm not talking about the news stations. So there is no way that I would ever vote text at that time. And like it's been said, that you know that people will get here. If there's something that really concerns them, they'll make sure that they get it to one of us to carry it across the board for them. So we just have to be logical and thinking about it. It's great discussion, good, healthy debate, but definitely no.
Thank you.
Thank
Commissioner
you.
Middleton.
Well, I only have 1/12 of the vote towards this, but I'm just saying I'm not opposed to trying something for 60 days, which would be, if we did it 2 months, that's 8 meetings. You know, if it inconveniences us that much, then so be it. But then if it helps the citizens and the empirical data, as Lynn talked about, let's see how many people, new people, show up that we've not had before. And then we decide whether or not it's worth continuing on. But my thoughts is, it probably won't be, but at least we gave it a shot, getting it out there, making it available.
Thank you. Commissioner Chavez.
A non-vote.
Okay, and I would like to say one thing. I agree with Commissioner Coughlin 100% that empirical data, just let's, if we find something and it says 3:30 or 3 or 4 p.m. or 3:15 is the best time for citizens to have input and we're doing everything right, then that's fine, and I'm happy with that. And if we look at the data and it says 3 minutes is the time and let's stop there, then that's fine. I was just looking at best practices across the nation to serve the citizens and just throw that out, and I appreciate the data comment because that's really all I was hoping to gain out of that. That's everything in that regard, Mr. Hopkins. Next item.
Authorize reappointment to the Shreveport-Bossier Convention and Tourist Bureau.
Move for Thursday.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Epperson, second by Commissioner Johnson. Please vote. That moves to Thursday. Next item.
Authorize Ms. Stacy Brown as visitor for Thursday's regular session.
Moved by Commissioner Stormy Gage White, second by Commissioner Middleton. Please vote. That moves to Thursday.
Authorize end of the year appointments, final confirmation December 8th.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Bowman, second by Commissioner Atkins. Please vote. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Did you want to speak on your motion? Commissioner Bowman?
No, sir.
Yeah, Commissioner Atkins. Commissioner Johnson, you're on the board.
Yeah, I just want to make a motion to amend it to remove the Lakeview Waterworks District appointment, to remove the Sewer District number 5 appointments, to remove the Sewer District number 7 appointments, and I will appoint them later.
Second.
Yeah, that's a secondary motion by Commissioner Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Epperson to remove all sewage district number 5, all sewage district number 7, and Lakeview Waterview districts all for reappointment. We'll leave the rest at standing. Okay. Commissioner Epperson, did you're on the board? Okay. Please vote. That moves forward. Next
Next we have consent agenda.
All right, thank you very much, and meeting's adjourned.
You gotta hit it. Yeah. Now it's official.